Welcome to the Personal Trainer Hustle. Personal Trainer Hustle. If you didn't know, you do now.
Welcome back to the Personal Trainer Hustle podcast. I'm your host, Sam Lopez. And today we're going to talk about defining what your job is as a personal trainer. You can think of this also as kind of figuring out your mission and figuring out your elevator pitch, right? If you guys have not heard what an elevator pitch is, it's just how do you condense what it is that you do when you greet somebody, when you meet somebody, right? Let's say you had just 60 seconds with someone. How how can you best use that time to let them know what you do? And so I learned this years ago. I think I was reading a book, but it was asking me, and I'm just sharing the message with you today, asking yourself, what is it that I actually do for my job? And this I found to be very true in personal training, right? So the mistake that a lot of us make that we don't even realize that we're making is that when we talk about our job, we usually say that we're a personal trainer, or we say that we are a fitness coach, right? Or a boot camp instructor. To some degree, we condense it to a job title. And we all grow so used to saying this, so used to, saying that this is our job, that there's one part that we're missing when we say that. And that is that we're leaving what we do up for interpretation for another person. Okay. And I have had experiences in my life where I realized I can't keep leaving it up to the person to define what personal training is. Right. So I'll give you some examples of what sometimes somebody may think about you that you don't even realize they may be thinking about you. And these are just life experiences that I had. Right. When I first became a trainer, when I would tell people that I'm a personal trainer, they would say, "What is your other job?" So, one thing that people assumed about being a personal trainer is they would assume that it's a part time gig, that I was only doing it while something else worked out, right? That was their interpretation of personal training. When I would tell other people that I was a personal trainer, some people would think, "Oh, you're like, you're like a drill sergeant. You like force people to do workouts and you like kick their ass, right?" And so they assumed that my job was just to kick people's asses. They found no value in that, right? Or other people thought, oh, okay, so you just tell people what to do. You just tell people exercises to do. And so to that person, when I would say I'm a personal trainer, they would say, oh, you just pick exercises and have them go through it. And, even for you guys, you may be realizing right now, well, yeah, that's kind of what I do, right? So stay tuned because we're going to like kind of dive deeper into this subject, right? Into what is a personal trainer? How do I better define personal training? How do I have a 60-second pitch that I can give someone for them to better understand what I do? And that's what today's episode is about, is we need to learn to express what we do more clearly so that there is an actual service and there is a type of client that gets benefit from our service so that we stop leaving it up to people to interpret. Now, why is this important when it comes to your career, right? Because whatever, who cares if you tell someone you're a trainer and, they imagine something else that is different from what you do. Here's the thing though. If you don't learn to have your job description ready to be said, rehearsed, right? You want to know what it is that you say to people when they want to know what you do or when you introduce yourself to someone. You want to have something deeper than just telling someone that you're a coach, just telling somebody that you're a trainer, again, because you're leaving it up to interpretation. Let's say that they have a different idea of what a trainer is. When they meet you, they're going to leave thinking, "Oh, I know what you do. You kick people's asses, or you just make exercises up, or you're just trying to figure it out because you don't really know what to do with your career." You're leaving it up for interpretation. So, once I learned this, I realized, "Oh, I need to better define what I do and how it affects your career." Is that now you open up the door for more people to potentially want to train with you, because when they hear what a personal training is, a personal trainer is directly from you, they know what it is that you provide, what it is that you do, and how it is that you can help them potentially with their fitness, with their rehabilitation, with their weight loss, with their strength gaining, with their bodybuilding, whatever their goal is. If you have a better definition as to what a personal trainer does for someone, instead of leaving it up for interpretation and hoping for the best, you're actually, in a way, potentially opening the door for that person to be interested in what you do. And so that's the importance of having a real definition. So, what we're talking about today is not just having the title, but going beyond the title of personal training and understanding that you should define it for them because you don't want to leave it up to them. So, the way I always ask it is, if I never knew what a personal trainer was, let's say that you are dropped off in a city or a country that doesn't have personal trainers, they don't have coaches, they don't even have gyms, let's say. Now, how would you define it? How would you tell someone what you do if they stared at you and didn't know what you just said, right? If you were introducing yourself and said, "I'm a personal trainer," and they stared at you blankly and said, "What's that?" How would you then define it? You want to have that always in your back pocket at all times. Now let's get into why, right? Why is this important? Because sometimes in the gym you're going to have walk-ins. Sometimes you're going to go to social events and introduce yourself. Sometimes you're going to meet somebody at a grocery store. Sometimes, a friend or a family member or somebody's going to ask you what you do. Or sometimes you're going to meet a potential customer in the gym, somebody that's coming in for a trial workout, somebody that signed up for a membership. In any situation, you may need to define what it is that you do for people, because this is the beginning of opening up their mind to potentially working with you. And so instead of just saying that you're a personal trainer or just assuming that they know what's coming or what you do, by defining this, you have your first pitch. You have a way to kind of making people curious about what it is that you do, because maybe, and this is really where the definition comes into play here, is a lot of people don't see what the benefit of having a personal trainer is because of the definition that they have in their mind. And even you guys may have never thought about this before, right? Even for you, you might be thinking right now, I don't even know what he's really talking about. What do you mean defining what personal training is? Exactly. That's the issue, is that when you don't know how to define what you do, you're leaving it up for interpretation. You're letting people kind of maybe think less of what you actually give people. Maybe a lot of you guys are struggling with, oh, people don't value my personal training. People don't want to try my personal training. They don't see what benefit. That's because what they think personal training is may be different than what you're actually capable of doing for them. And so, your job as a personal trainer, if you're going to build a career in personal training, one of the best things that you can do early is to have your own definition as to what you do, right? Because there's personal trainers that are specialists in strength training, but they have no idea how to, maybe put it together a diet plan for weight loss. There are people that are very good at weight loss, at diet, at being motivational. But when it comes to the strength training part, they struggle with technique. They struggle with like movement patterns and proper technique and proper rep ranges, right? So when you say personal trainer, I have no idea what your actual capabilities are. Do you know how to program? Do you know how to progress someone? Do you know how to regress someone? Do you know how to work on somebody's mobility, somebody's flexibility? Do you know the difference between mobility, flexibility, stability, right? Static stretching, dynamic stretching. The amount of things that any one personal trainer can do or cannot do, and the amount of areas in which different trainers have strengths are still under the branch of personal training. And so when you constantly say you're a personal trainer, again, what does that really mean? And so if you can just lead with your definition instead of saying personal trainer, when you have your definition of what training is, now you can better guide a conversation around personal training and open up opportunities that may not have been there. So, for example, let's say you're standing there with someone who thinks, oh, a personal trainer, you're just going to give me workouts and you're going to kick my butt. And when you talk to them, you say, oh, well, what I do is I help people who are struggling with technique, who are afraid of hurting themselves. And so what I do is I observe what their current fitness level is. I make adjustments to their workouts so that the workouts that they're doing are appropriate to their fitness level and are safe and are actually going to pay more dividends in the long run. But the issue that people have is that they do general workouts. They're not doing workouts that are specific to them. And so that leads to more probability of injury. So what I do is I make sure that who I work with is doing what they should be doing for their body type, for their fitness level, for their abilities and their limitations. That's what I do. And so when you say something like that to that person, instead of them going, "Oh, you just kick people's butt," what they might think in that moment is go, "Oh, maybe you can help me. Maybe, maybe I should work with you. Maybe I should at least try a consultation. Maybe I should at least try a trial session. Maybe I should at least sign up for 5 sessions. I should do something because what you just said speaks to what I may be looking to achieve and like what I may be looking to have. I didn't even realize that you could do that for me. And you can change that sentence to whatever fits what you do. But when you're able to have an actual sentence, an actual phrase, a definition, people now are going, their eyes are going to light up, their thoughts are going to start going, right? Their mind is going to start to wonder, do you have the solution that maybe I need? Because I thought what you did was something else. I didn't realize that this is what you did. Now that you said it, now that I read it on your post, now that I read it on your website, now that I saw a video where you talk about it, now, now I'm interested. Now I see the value. Oh, and what else do you do? And then I write a program down and then I give you homework. Whatever the depth of what you do is, it's going to speak to someone, right? I make sure, you know, how you could change it, right? You can make it different. You can say, you know, how when you go to the gym, you just get on the treadmill and it's just boring. You're not doing the strength training. You're bored. You're looking at the time. You're feeling like you just want it to be over. You know that how that leads to inconsistency. Well, what I do is I make sure that the workouts are fun so that you can be consistent and see the results. That's my job. So see, I can change it to just I'm a fun trainer. It's not that technical, right? Because what I want you to realize is, sure, we can go the technical route, but being honest and really thinking, this is a homework for you. Think about how would you would define it. For the few of you that have applied to work at my gym, you know, this is a question that I've added. I'm going to give you the cheat code so you can prepare ahead of time. But this is a question that I ask potential trainers coming in. One of the first 5 questions, because I have a list of 5 questions that I ask every new trainer in their very first interview. And one of them is actually around today's topic. I ask them, if I didn't know what training was, how would you define it? Or I ask them, you know, just how do you define the job of a trainer? And most of you guys, I'm going to be honest, most people are stumped. Most people have never thought about it. That's why this episode came to my mind as I was thinking about what we should talk about, right? In between the Q&A episodes, I was like, what can I share with you guys? And when I realized, wow, this question is really catching people off guard, I was like, man, a lot of trainers aren't thinking about this. They're not thinking about what they actually do for people. And it's not just about defining what you do for people, but the impact that it's going to have in how you view your career, how you view your business, how you even your business within a business, right? A lot of you guys are trainers in a company. It's the same exact thing. You have to define your brand. You have to define what it is that you do because you never know when you need to tap into that. Maybe you're meeting someone, maybe you're in the middle of a workout with someone and you realize they don't really know what the benefit is here. Boom, you go into your elevator pitch and you say, hey, this is what I can do for people. This is what I can do for you. Right. So, again, all I want you to think about today is defining more specifically what it is that you do. And so, what I did here today is I actually wrote just like a little fill in the blank type of script. I just put it together. It's not perfect, but it's at least going to help you guys get the juices flowing. It's going to get you to kind of start thinking about how you can define it. So if you don't know where to start, today's episode, we're going to be talking about, you know, just how to put this together. So the first thing that you want to have as part of the definition of what you do, in my opinion, right, in my little script here, is who you help, okay? And what problem these people have, okay? So who and the problem. That's all you need to think about for the first sentence, right? So you're going to say something along the lines of, I help people who are struggling with their weight loss. And then you can add to that, right? You can make it more specific, who are struggling with their weight loss because, overeating is a big issue in our society, blah, 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 right? But again, sentence number one is, I help people with blank. And that is the problem. And you can even define the people, the type of people. You, instead of saying I help people who, you could say I help women who, I help teenagers who, I help people over 60 who, and then fill in the blank. What is the problem that that person is having? Now, the next thing is not just the problem, but also the goal that the person has. So you would say something along the lines of, I help women who are struggling to get back in shape after giving birth and having a baby, who want to get back to the fitness level that they had prior, right? So that's the second part. I can say who want to blank. That's the second part of that first sentence, right? So I'm just reviewing again. I help people who problem, who want to achieve the goal. So now you put the goal that these people may be struggling with to achieve, right? So we have the problem and we have a possible end goal. The next part of your pitch here is how you do it. How do you achieve this for them? Now this can go a little bit long. This is going to be a few sentences long, but I need you to sit down and say how you do this, right? So the word you that I like to use before starting this sentence is by, right? by. So it goes something like this, right? I help these people achieve this goal by providing a program, by observing how they move, by observing their fitness level, by asking them questions about their nutrition, and by putting together a plan based on their specifications that is going to be helpful to them, right? Blah 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 blah. And so and again, this is just, you want to sit down and write this, right? Because right now, you guys, I'm recording this in the moment live, right? So I'm just kind of going off the cuff. It could be deeper than what I'm saying. It could be more specific, more well thought out than what I'm saying. I'm just giving you a general direction as to how to put this together, right? So again, we're going to review. Part one is I help people who blank. That's the problem. Who want to achieve blank. That's the goal. By blank. That's the how I do it, what my actual plan is for people. How do I achieve it? And then the final part can be because because I used to struggle with my weight, because I see that this is a neglected area in fitness, because I see a lot of people struggle with this, because my family members also struggle with this, because when I helped my first client, I realized the joy that I can bring to people, because blank, blank, blank. So this gives you an opportunity to put a little soul into it, to put a little bit of you into it, a little bit of your story, a little bit of your passion, a little bit of your vision and your mission. You get to add it here, right? So you finish with why this is an important um, service for people. Why is it important that I exist, right? So you close your statement and your sentence with just adding a little bit about what's important to you, why you did it, right? So you go, I help people who blank, who want to achieve blank, or just who want to, and then just fill in the blank by providing them with blank, 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 because I see that we need blank, blank, blank. And that's a very simple way to start to define who who you are, what your brand is, what your service is, and redefine what being a personal trainer is. So now you can go beyond just saying that you're a personal trainer. You can go beyond just expecting people to understand what a personal trainer is, and you can actually begin to just lead with your definition. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you meet a new potential customer. You meet them for the first time. You see that they're kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing here, right? This is my free trial workout. And you can go, hey, Jane, nice to meet you. So just to give you a little bit of background, what I do is I help people who blank, who want to achieve blank. And the way I do it is by blank, blank, blank. And I do it because blank, blank, blank. And now that person is going to have a clearer understanding of what it is that you do, right? So I'll fill in the blanks here for the final example. Hey, John, welcome to your first workout. Hey, just to give you a little background on what I do as a personal trainer, I just want to make sure you know, like, my goal is to help people who are struggling with their weight loss, who are confused in the gym, right? We sometimes when we start, we don't have all the information that we would want to have. And so we feel confused at the gym. And so people that want to achieve goals, but are struggling to achieve those goals, my job is to fill in those blanks for people, to have the solutions and to guide people to their goals when they're a little confused about what to do. And I do that by what we're going to do today. I'm going to ask you some questions to figure out what you already know, what you figured out, and also to figure out where I can best fill in those blanks for you. And for me, it's all about helping people. I do it because I also was in your shoes once, right? I remember the first time I went to the gym, I was super confused, and once I figured it out, I decided to become a trainer so that I can kind of pass this knowledge on to other people. And so far it's been an amazing experience, but that's what I do, and that's what today's about. Okay, to figuring out what you need from a coach and delivering that for you so that you can achieve the fitness goals that you're here to achieve. So John, tell me a little bit about you. What's your fitness routine like so far? And boom, we're off to the conversation now, right? We're talking now, and John now knows that I'm not just here to take him through a workout. I'm here to help him with a specific goal by providing him a specific service because I'm inspired by a specific reason. And so because I've added all of that to my definition of personal training, I am not letting John in my first meeting define this service for himself. I'm defining it for him so that he has a clear vision. And again, what you guys may notice is sometimes I leave things a little broad because again, the danger here is if I'm too specific, then John may not land within my niche or my expertise or my ability to help him, right? So I leave it up for a little bit of like wiggle room where I can still help him no matter what his goal may be. But I hope some of those examples and the fill in the blank can help you guys understand the importance of defining what personal training is. Now, this is a process that's going to kind of always come back. You're going to re-evolve it. um it's going to evolve. I mean, you're going to redefine it. But this is a very great starting point, you guys, if you want your career to also expand to possibly starting your own business or having your own independent brand. You want to be able to define this. Why? Because this is going to translate to your content. If you know all of the answers to this fill in the blank that we just talked about, then you have better defined your product, your service, your mission, right? This isn't the end all be all. This is very short and concise and just, like I said, it's an elevator pitch. It's just a quick little thing to define who you are so that people don't do it for you. But this is also the beginning stages of creating a vision and a mission and a definition for your unique selling proposition, right? So what a unique selling proposition is, for those of you guys that have been asking about business and starting a business and business tips, your unique selling proposition is simply how you stand out and how your service is different and more valuable to someone than the next product or service. And so again, if the people think, well, you're a personal trainer and that person's a personal trainer and she's a personal trainer and the online is a personal trainer and my boot camp is a personal trainer, if they're all personal trainers, then maybe I should just get the cheapest trainer because you're all trainers. But when you define how you differentiate yourself, what your unique proposition is, your unique selling proposition, what is it that's unique about me? When you start defining that, people may go, yeah, they're all trainers, but this trainer listens to me because they said that that's what they do. Or this trainer is patient with me. They said that's what they're going to do. Or this trainer is the fun trainer. Or this trainer is dynamic. Or this trainer is the most educated. Or this trainer is the most convenient, the fastest. They'll get to me on time. Or this trainer is has the most experience in weightlifting, or this trainer had experience like the one I had. Whatever it is that you added to your definition of your personal training is going to help you connect with people. And so, sure, maybe another trainer is cheaper, but you're the trainer that they connected with based on your definition of what you do, the story that you told them. They may connect with that and they're willing to pay more for that connection and that service that feels like what they need, right? They're not just getting training anymore. They're getting training as defined by you and what you do. Now, there's more to it. There is proof of concept, there are testimonials, there are, reputation. There's other things that are involved, of course. But like I said, this is a very beginner stage of figuring out, just understanding. That's all I want you to take away from today's episode is just realizing that you need to have a definition of what personal training is for you. It's very powerful. It's what takes you from being average to beginning to get above average, right? Beginning to kind of stand out from other trainers, because this is something that you guys sometimes don't really understand or realize when you're new. It's not just about the training, it's about your dialogue. It's about your communication skills, your definitions of things. That is what gets people to believe. And a lot of trainers are so focused on squats and lunges and battle ropes and burpees and mountain climbers and high-fiving and throwing the ball around, that you realize that what you say also matters, and you're not thinking about what you're saying. You're not thinking about your definition of what you do, right? You just jump into the job and you just start working people out, and you don't realize that this is just the very beginning. This is just entry level training, and that the next level is not just in your training. That's really what I was trying to get to. Ascending in your personal training career, it's not just about ascending in your workouts. It's about ascending in how you think and how you process, how you communicate, and how you define things, right? So a lot of it is just how you think about things. So a trainer that can walk in and define exactly what they provide people versus a trainer that cannot is already ahead of the other trainer, even if all the fitness knowledge and abilities are the same, because the gain is in the communication. That's the part that I want you guys to understand, that there's so many little things you can add to your personal training career, your service, your brand, your sales, your business. There's so many little things that every little thing year after year, adds to it. This is why not just getting mentorship from myself on the podcast, but also just getting mentorship from different trainers that are ahead of you at the gym, managers, other influencers, things like that. You know, it's very important because um, you never know where all these little nuggets come from, right? Like, I'm sharing a topic today that I learned years ago that I didn't realize we'd be talking about today, but it's been there. It's something that I did because one day I was reading something and it asked me to do it, and I thought that was a good idea. So I did it, and it changed my career. It helped me build my business. And so now I'm sharing it with you. One day you're going to go, I don't even know where I heard that, but I just know that you should define your personal training. It's going to help your career. You're just going to know that. And that's how we just kind of get better. So every little nugget that you pick up is not just about fitness, even though that's very important. You should always be learning about fitness concepts. A lot of it is interpersonal, mental, emotional, strategic, conversational, sales, business, marketing. There's so many little things to it that are going to help you keep moving forward that are not just the fitness. And today is one of those things, right? No matter how good, how new, how experienced, how specialized you are at training, what I'm asking you to think about is, can you define that? Can you clearly express to other people what it is that you do and define it so that they have no doubt as to what it is that you can do for them, right? Can you do that? That's going to take your training to the next level, all right? So, something to think about, something to meditate on, you guys. Take your time with it. This is something that requires writing things down, okay? You can't just listen to today's episode and go, yeah, I should do that eventually. You have to write it down, put it in your notes somewhere on your phone and on paper, and say, hey, I have to have the definition. I have to have these four parts to it. Maybe when I get home, if you guys are listening in your car or during your workout or whatever, if you're not home, say, hey, as soon as I get home, I got to re-listen to this, especially when he gets towards the end where he starts talking about the fill in the blank part, so I can fill it in for myself. Write it down and have that as your definition. And as you evolve as a trainer, you're going to change things. You're going to add things to it. You're going to, in some areas, you're going to generalize more. In some areas, you're going to kind of niche down more. It's flexible, but really, whatever you do, you just want to make sure that you can define it for people so that they're not left to interpret it on their own. That's the big message today. Because, people have had great experiences with trainers, bad experiences with trainers, no experiences with trainers. And so if you just leave it up to people, they may have the wrong idea about what you do. You want to make sure that you go in there and you say, no, this is what I do, not what you think, but what I actually do. So that's the message for today, you guys. Think about it, write those notes down. And of course, like always, send in your questions. A lot of these episodes lately have been Q&A episodes, which I love. You know, it's so much easier and so much more precise when it is a question that you actually have, right? It's coming directly from your life, from your issues, your situation, what you're really living through. And that is always the best place to communicate from, right? Reality. I think that's something that I try to do with the podcast as much as possible is it's all just real stuff. This isn't fluff stuff. This isn't the textbook definition of stuff. I like to just from my experience in building my personal training business, from all of my mistakes and my successes and the ups and the downs, right? For those of you guys that maybe this is your first episode, I own my own personal training studio, but I didn't start there, right? I started at a corporate gym, not knowing how to sell, not knowing how to talk to people, not knowing how to prospect people, not knowing how to market myself. That's where I started. And then years later, after developing all of these things that we talk about in the podcast, I was able to get to the point where I could start my business and also hire on staff. And, that's where I'm at. And the podcast is just a passion project where I just come on here and try to share little nuggets of information whenever I remember them. But that's why it's important for you guys to also send your questions in to keep things moving along, to keep getting more information out there, not just for you, but just to like have it be out here, right? But that's what, and I love the questions you guys have sent in. We've gotten a lot of questions in over the last year, but the questions are always just so specific, so helpful for us to really talk about real life things that you're going through. There's no silly question, dumb question where you're brand new or if you're super experienced or whatever it is that's going on, whether it's about training or sales or marketing or business or just an issue you're having with clients, you should feel comfortable sending that in because it's going to help. And more likely than not, it's happened to me and it's probably happened to me more than once. Okay. That's how training is. We all go through these exact same experiences about clients, good clients, bad clients, results, no results, selling, not selling, marketing, not being found, struggling. All of it is part of it. So wherever you're at, make sure you send in your questions and we'll turn it into an episode coming up. But right now I got to get to some that you guys have already sent in. So I appreciate that. I'm already thinking about, how we're going to answer those and, the best way that we can. So I always take a little bit to meditate on it, think about it, and give you guys the best answer I can come up with. But yeah, that's it for today. Appreciate you guys listening. As always, appreciate you guys listening, tuning in, and we'll talk soon.